Hello, gang. This is Glenn. Welcome to another Winning 10 with Glenn. We will finish up talking about winning today so that you understand the application, and we'll move right into some of the other terms so you can see how they will apply so that you can win no matter what's going on in your life. And you remember, we talked about on the onset that winning is finishing, is making the most with what you have, doing the best with what you have, and looking at the big picture, not being caught up in battles, but focusing on winning the war. Why am I doing this? What was the whole purpose? The whole purpose, the goal. And the goal, you came together, you started a business, and now we know that a business goal, yes, it must be profitable, but the goal of the business is to meet a need. If you're not meeting needs, then you shouldn't be in business. And you sooner or later you may find that out. Hopefully sooner than later. That is the goal. That's how you will win in your relationships. If you meet other people's needs, then you win. And as you notice how all this focuses on others and not self, and that's what we talked about, was also winning. And also the other tip that I didn't give you as we close this out is money loves great. You got that, and money follows great. So we got that. Get that under your belt. And so relationally, understand that you can be fighting the wrong battles. So that's why we talked about looking at the war and not the battles, because you could be fighting the wrong battles, and battles are there. They can end up distracting you, and they can keep you from winning the war. In some battles, you could be caught up in a battle so long that you never even that you have to you quit because you lost the battle, and so you never even get a chance to finish and win the war. There's wars, as we know, going on right now, and you think about, sadly, in some parts of the world, and we know over in the Ukraine and other places, in Russia, and they just give up. They say, well, we're no longer going to fight this battle. We're going to go to another front. And they look at strategic areas, strategic battles, strategic ways in order, well, we need to cut this off, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. And those are unpleasant analogies, but they really are the realities. We need to do this to win the war. Maybe we're not going to fight that battle. We're going to go fight this battle. We're going to give up over here. We started here, but the war is still going on in both directions. So understand the concept of not fighting or trying to win every battle, but the goal is to win the war. And then the war of change. We'll be talking about that, or the battle, not war, but the battle of change. Understand that you can't really change yourself. You can make changes, and ultimately those changes will end up having some impact on what you do. And certainly if it's hard, impossible, if it's hard, and if it's possible, not impossible, but if it's hard to change self, certainly you can't change others. So this battle in trying to change others, even in business, and we'll talk about change behavior in another installment, but in this battle of trying to change others, that's a battle that you need not fight. Give up on that battle in trying to change others. That's a great tip. Do not try to change someone else. Focus on what you can do and changing on how you respond and what you do to impact them. That's the low-hanging fruit, is what I can do to impact the relationship. What change can I make? You still may not have changed, but you just made a change. And then last, consider this about winning. If you win, and too many people don't understand this, if only you win, then only you win. And so you're there alone. And you may say, well, I'm standing on, if you're standing on the mountaintop alone, then who's there to celebrate you standing on the mountaintop? Because you're there alone. And I know that maybe don't resonate with some of you, but hopefully it will soon. If it's just you alone, then you are alone. You need winning is when you have others with you, when it's focused on others, and you win when they win. Think about the GOAT, the greatest of all time, not the individual. And then you can even think about individuals who we argue are the GOAT. But most of the GOATs, if not the GOAT, greatest of all time, is always that person that makes other people better. That's what we call the GOAT. So that's what winning is. And then that gets us to success, because too frequently people confuse what is success. I want to be, well, first of all, I don't want to be a failure. Who wants to be a failure? I'm not sure necessarily what a failure is. And well, yes, we are sure what a failure is. A failure, we said, is the person who doesn't try. The end of a great movie that I always use as a specimen was Apollo 13, and they called it a successful failure. And what that successful failure was is we didn't make it to the moon, but we went through so many hardships, we had so much difficulty that was thrown at us, that it was a success because of all the things, watch this, that we persevered, that we went through, that we endured, and that we achieved, that benefited others. Not what we amassed. We didn't get to the ultimate goal, but we're still alive. We finished. So that mission was called a successful failure. And literally, when you think about it, and as I think about it at the Apollo 13, they could say that they won, because at the end of the day, the goal always is to what? That is to get those astronauts back home. So they may have not gotten to where they originally intended to go on the journey, or it wasn't their destination. It was just a point of visitation. And think about this. So we're going to go to the moon, but the goal was not to go to the moon and never come back. The goal was always to get them back home. And so that was my thought process for you when we talked about winning, is the overall big picture is to get back home, is to finish. And so that Apollo 13 was termed a successful failure. So what is success? Success, oftentimes people mix up what success is. I achieved everything that I wanted to, but I want us to consider success in life back to the concept of winning. That is, you win when you help others succeed. You become the GOAT when others succeed. You become the greatest of all time because you help other people succeed, be it in business, your vendors, your suppliers, because when your suppliers, when your vendors succeed, you succeed. When you meet your customers' need, you win. Did you get that? When you meet your customers' need, they end up winning, and then you end up winning because you're meeting their needs. And so there's some concepts that are germane to success. Number one, focus on them. Focus on the other person. You're in marriage, focus on your spouse. You have kids, focus on your kids. Find out, once again, business 101. What are their needs? Well, there's concepts about wants, but you really right now focus on what their needs are. And we'll look at their wants later and desires. In business, customers, vendors, suppliers meet those needs. And oftentimes you're going to find out that the very thing that they wanted was their needs, or what they need is what they wanted. They kind of get a little convoluted, but you focus on, find out what the need is, meet that need, and you will win, and you will succeed virtually in everything that you do, because you are meeting other people's needs. So this is your installment of Win in 10 with Glenn. I'm glad that you're running with me as we're going to begin to start looking at other concepts that you'll need to know how to apply. But the most important thing that I want you to apply at the end of each of these messages that I deliver in concepts and principles is that you say, I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to make that change by looking in the mirror. And yes, this is the time when you can say, yes, this is the case where you are the man or the woman. Look in the mirror and make that change. Winning in Team with Glenn. Until next time.